What I'm going for is the kind of the medium dark color, and I will put highlights on top of this, and darks, the shadows. And when I'm putting this on, like with everything else, I'm following the angle of what it is that I'm working on. And I'll go around some of the trees. I won't, you know, I can always dust it off or paint over it. You know, this is called painting, even though it's chalk. But I can go over a lot of this. But just so that I don't have extra work for myself to do, I will kind of avoid some of that. There's holes down here in the now it's hard to see in the picture, but right in this area, let me switch to another color. Right in this area right here, it's kind of a bowl. Grab my. So right in here, it's like the face of it has fallen down, and so I'm trying to create that bowl shape. And I'm just going to add a little bit of this gray to this area only. That gray will help mute the color. And then it'll put by muting the color just a little bit, it will push it back. So this is where I'm going to take my color shaper. I could come in with my finger and kind of lightly blend that too. That'll work. Sometimes in the small areas I just pick this up because I can see what I'm doing. And then into this area I'm going to pick up a little bit. This is kind of a burnt orange color. And I'm just going to come in and add this. Again, I'm going to just streak it in. I will do more detail later, but this kind of gets the idea of light and dark going. Have to remember not to scratch my face with my dirty fingers. And then I'm just going to lightly, I'm barely touching the paper when I'm doing this. I'm just lightly blending. Let's see if I can do it with my other finger so you can see it. Okay, this is just kind of a lighter version of what I've put up there. It's kind of a orangey tan color. And in the background here, I'm going to do the same thing, just kind of add this color. It's a little grayer, a little softer. And that will help create some distance. Didn't put a lot in. And then just lightly blend. Now I'm going to save the trees for a bit. I want to work on this little spit of land here. I think I'm going to take that same color that I just had. Now this little bit of land right here is been probably brought in from someplace else as they were making this. You know, they bring in dirt and rocks and everything. So I'm just going to base this in. And again, it's dirt that's been poured, so it's kind of going down at an angle into the rocks and ocean there. Doesn't need to be nice and straight. This is in a slippage area, so it will have bumps and everything. I'm looking, there's another little, there's a path that goes around here. So I'm going to use the same color, but I'm going to add some, this is a light gray. And I'll just come in and blend that just a little bit. Now, use the closest thing you have. I know if you're just getting started with pastel, you may not have a lot of colors, but if you want, let's see, let me find something I can work on. Okay, so say you've only got like a medium gray, like that. Just add some white to it. You know, if you have to add quite a bit of white, that's okay. And just blend it until you get as light as you need. That color that I had, maybe you need to use let's see. Nope. That's almost a gray. Maybe this is the color that you have. Okay? So instead of, use what you have and then think I need to make it lighter. And so what's a lighter color? Maybe you have it's got some yellow in it. So or an orange. Use the lightest color you have. There's some yellow into that. And then again, taking the white. This teaches you how to mix color when you don't have all those colors. And if it's not exactly the same as mine, that's okay. So just blend. Start with what's closest and think I need to make it lighter or I need to make it darker. What do I have that's light? And add the light to it until you get something that's close. It's not it's not something you need to worry about. I'm constantly blending colors like up in here. I'm looking for things that I can add to. Right now there's rocks here and they're kind of gray. They've probably been imported. So I'm just gonna, this is a kind of a medium light gray. And I'm just this is kind of like scumbling. I'm just putting in a bunch of chalk marks here to establish those rocks. They've just been tumbled in there. And then come in with a little bit. Oh, I had that dark brown. This is, nope, that's not the color I want. And I will make adjustments. As I'm painting, I will come in and I will make adjustments to my color. I will make adjustments to my design. art. It's not something that the earth will end, hopefully. I think I'm going to save that little spit of land for later. I'm going to take my blender. I usually start blending up in the lighter areas and then blend down into darker areas so I don't get too much of that darker color up where I need it lighter. Not going to hurt anything, but just a habit I'm into. Okay, this little headland right back in here, it has some darker growth on it, you know, trees and bushes and whatever that stuff is that grows along the side. So I found a color. This is a kind of a gray green medium light color, and it will need some modification, I think. Blending it in with what's already there may be enough. But by adding a little bit of color and, you know, putting that on, you know, it brings this part forward just a little bit, so it doesn't look like it's out in the middle of, you know, 20 miles away or something. It's, you know, a little bit closer. And I'm going to take that, and then I've got, this is kind of an indigo color. I really like this color for blending. It's a kind of a dark blue gray. This one's not real dark, but it's dark enough that I can add just a little touch of that in there. I use this a lot for shadows and things rather than like purple or something, because it's a little bit on the, it's got a little red in it, so it's got a little bit of purple. So that's all I'm going to do with that. Then I'm going to take my little blender here, my little, and I'm kind of pulling down, still wanting to follow the angles that I see on the cliff. I can pull that down into what's already there too, that, you know, 'cause that growth goes all the way down. Sometimes it goes all the way down to where the rocks and stuff are. Now let me look at it here. Now that might still be a little bit on the dark side, so I've got my kind of one of the same colors that I used up in the sky. Just going to add that so I can just soften that color. Like I said, you don't usually have the color you need in pastel, so you have to assess what needs to change and what you can use to change it. And then blend the colors. I'm trying to get some of this done in the background before I start too much on the foreground. Okay, that looks better. I'm going to move over here. Like I said, there's a bowl right in this area, which means that this kind of goes back a little bit and this sticks out. So I'm going to add just a little shadow right in here. And I've got, this is a similar color to that other indigo. This is kind of a little bit lighter version, but I'm just going to come in and kind of go right around where I see the, it's hard for me to keep my big fat hand out of there. Put that in. But I like those two colors in my shadows because they're cool. They're like a cool gray. And you know, they work really, really well for, and back in this area, I don't want anything really, really dark because it's still kind of far away. And the closer things get, the more intense the color becomes. There's more detail and things. So up in here, it's far enough away that you're not going to get a lot of really intense color. Let me look at that. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, what I was doing while you guys were working on yours is I was looking at things I need to make adjustments for. You know, like I said, everything, you know, you adjust as you go. I need to kind of make this point on this little spit of land a little different. I need to add some water back in here before I get started on the jetty, this little thing that sticks out there. So I'm going to take that that tan color and come out and then I'll take a little bit of this gray color here. Oh, I don't like that. I need something a little darker. Okay, this is kind of a gray-brown color. These are wet rocks, so they're a little bit different color. Blend this. So, you know, sometimes I blend a lot, sometimes I just kind of touch things because that leaves a little bit of texture to it. And then I'm going to find take that lavender blue that I've been using, and just right back in here I'm just going to put some kind of a little sheen on the water back in there, and that'll separate. Again, I'm trying to create some distance in my painting here, so having that little curve there and a little water will show a little split in distance between this part and this part. It's probably 100 yards. It's not a lot, but you know, when you're trying to create something with depth to it, every little bit helps. Okay. Oh, and I need to do that. I'm kind of went over my drawing. Now, I think I'm going to put in the I'm thinking. I think I'm going to put in some of these trees, at least this mass here, so I don't have any giant pieces of paper that are sticking out. And when I'm doing this, I'm thinking about the trees. This is a really dark green. Now, if you don't have a dark green, use the darkest green you have and add the darkest blue that you have. Down here it's a lot of palm trees and some other things, and I'm just kind of scribbling this in. I'll add some more detail to it later. I'm going to leave a little piece there for my... I'm just coming in and lightly blending. Alright, so there's going to be several different colors. White is going to be one of them, but it's not a pure white. This is kind of a cream color. And that's going to probably be the brightest color that I have up here. And again, I'll use kind of the side of this and put some light in, and I'm making little circles. I'm not going to do this everywhere. I've got some other colors. I've got my reference right in front of me, so that I'm just using it more as reference rather than, you know, something that's in stone. It's just to give me an idea of where I can put these different colors. I'm trying to get my hand out of the way. I don't want to get too far out with this bright color. I want to keep a lot of that in closer to my subject, which is this. Trying not to line it all up and create a herd of turtles here. Some of them can connect or look like they might connect. Now I'm going to switch to, let's see, is this going to work? Yeah, this is a really soft blue. Now again, if you need to blend, you find the lightest blue you have, put a little of it down. Let me find my mixing thing. Because I don't know what you have. So here's like if you have a color like this medium blue. Put a little bit of that down, and then take your white and put more of that in to modify it and make it lighter. You know, as you get used to pastel, you'll know how to mix, and 2, you'll know what you need to pick up when you go to the art store or order online, because it's just frustrating to not have the color that you need, but I've either bought or have been given lots of colors over the years, so and I still have to come in and mix colors. So this is this light blue, and I just want to come in and you know, the sun's kind of coming in this direction, so all of my highlights on everything is going to be on the left hand side. I'm using kind of the side of the color. A little bit of that up in there. I'm also going to get this is my gray. There are some darker, maybe I'll use a blue that I broke up. Especially in the front, there's some darker bottoms to some of these clouds. So I can put the dark in. And then there's little funny clouds that shouldn't be dark, but they are. So at this point, I'm probably going to go back and forth between dark and light. Oh, that split. Makes me mad. But getting some of that contrast in with the colors. I'm sorry, let's see if I can't. My hand gets in the way no matter where. So I just have to look when I move it. Right now, underneath here, there are some. This is the other blue that I have. No, I don't really want that. Let's see if this will work. There are some clouds way in the distance. And I want a color that is a little lighter. That might work. Okay, that might work. Things that are in the distance, like I said, are softer in color. I'll have to add to this. These are, going into the distance, so they're smaller too. Put that down. Get my. See if this is work. Also work. This is kind of a lavender color. For some of the tops of these distant clouds in the background. I'm going to blend this eventually. I can blend a little bit by using another chalk and blending the colors together, especially that darker color that I put on there. I want to tone that down just a bit, maybe a bit dark. Just using that to kind of blend and modify that dark color. I want it dark, but I don't want it so dark that it takes over. And so by adding this kind of lavender blue color, if you have a light purple, that would work. You know, with clouds you can really get carried away because they're kind of fascinating, and you can't really do them too wrong. As long as you keep them soft and fluffy, they should be okay. I just had it in my, okay, this is a soft gray. Maybe, let me find my other gray. Okay, this is an even softer gray here, this light color. I'm just putting some movement in here. Alright, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to blend and see where I am with this. Make sure I've got a clean finger here. Start on one side. And I always like to start, like I said, in the lighter colors. And I'm going to maybe have to move that up. Don't be afraid to just, blend it out until it just kind of blends into what's around it, because that's kind of what clouds do. I want these clouds to be very, very soft. Clean my fingers off every so often so that I can I don't want to move too much dark into areas. But you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm making little circular motions with my fingers. I'll come back in and blend those darker areas in a second. Down in that area down here, I'm gonna blend with my color shaper. My fingers are not small enough to do that. Here, finish up that. Okay, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start working on that darker color that I put in. Just Blending that. And like I said, just you can blend it out until it just kind of disappears. You have to have dark to show light, so be careful not to lose the light. We can always put it back in, but I'm just kind of like blending up into some of that light and then working around areas so that it just looks like the clouds are kind of bubbling and boiling. The color on my finger, I can move some of that dark. Let's see if I can get rid of some of that. Look at that, that's getting there. See areas where I need to add maybe some more of the light blue because the dark is just darker than I want it. I don't necessarily want to take this light gray. I think that'll work. Come in and just soften that just a little bit too bright back in there. So I need to gray the color. Ordinarily I might put a little orange or something on there, but I don't really want brown clouds. Do that. Because a lot of times you can gray the color by adding a form of its complement. But here I'm just going to add gray. It's, with pastel, it's the one place where I will use black or grays because they don't muddy the color as much as they do in other mediums. So I can come in and add the gray or black if I need to get it dark, and it doesn't seem to muddy the color. It does a little bit, but not quite in the same level as when I'm working in a different medium. Soften those. Almost. Go back here with this. Just have it a little bit darker than I want it, so I'm looking for soft colors to mute that. That's the same color I just did. Let's see, here's a soft blue. Yeah, a little touch of that. Let's see if that works. That's a little better. Alright, that's not too bad. Let me look. Now, there are some high clouds up in there. I think I'll just kind of like lightly come in and add some high clouds. Add the color, then come back in and blend it in. That was my soft gray. Kind of little circular motions. Blending some of these out until they just kind of dissipate and fade into the background. I'm using my monitors as like a standing back from it to kind of see where things are and where I want to kind of change or add. So okay, well I'm gonna end there. I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and work, and then